All right, so trade negotiations with the United States is still going on, and the deadline of Wednesday is coming up pretty quick. And I think Canadians have to come to the fact that, yes, there might be tariffs being put on us, again. But I really hope that Canada does not give up too much. And I want to show a CTV report that kind of repeats what I just said. I don't want Canada to give up too much. But we have to face the reality that the relationship with the United States, it's done after this. Like, there's no going back after this. The old Canada is gone, and we have a new Canada now. And in my previous videos, I explained the new Canada is basically a Canada that is releasing its ties with the United States and diversifying with other countries. But I felt this report was important to share with everybody because it actually talks about the people. Surprisingly, it came from CTV. I also have another report out of Bellingham, Washington. Well, it's from the Daily Hive in Vancouver, but they talk about Bellingham, Washington. But I want to thank Totes Magoats for tagging me in this on Blue Sky because you all know how I love talking about Bellingham, Washington. It's a place that I'm very familiar with, and anytime there's a report on it, I want to know. I'm sure a lot of Lower Mainland people want to know as well. So I'm going to talk about these two reports today, and I'm going to show you later how they tie together. And before I start, the daily thanks to all the GTL community viewers who are supporting my Substack page as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page. I know it's probably pissing off that one guy that complained that I'm thanking my viewers too much. Well, piss off, buddy. It's called being grateful, and it's something I'm going to continue doing, because I am grateful for all of the viewers that view my channel and support the work that I do. But I do want to genuinely thank everybody for contributing to my Buy Me a Coffee page, as well as subscribing to my Substack and restacking my articles as well. Alright, let's get into the first report from CTV. And when I talk about the Bellingham one, I don't know why, but I kind of feel like I might get a little bit spicy on that one. So let's get started with the CTV report.
All right, let's bring in CTV Chief Political Correspondent Vashi Kapellas to talk about these crucial conversations underway in Washington. And Vashi, I'm curious about this. Are the Prime Minister and his trade delegation in tune with what Canadians want to come out of these talks? Now, they must know how regular folk feel about this.
All right, before they start, let me tell you what I want. I, as a Canadian, born and raised in Vancouver, I do not want Canada to give up too much. Because I'm past that point of giving the United States the benefit of the doubt. Because we've done that in the past. And an example that I want to bring up is the digital services tax. We gave in on that one as a gesture of good faith, I guess, and look where that got us right now. The United States got their way with the digital services tax, and they're still putting tariffs on us. The way I see it, we've already given them enough good faith gestures. And whatever is agreed to upon in the next couple of days, I don't believe that the Taco Tuesday administration will honor it. I mean, why do we even have these 50% tariffs threats on us? I mean, did Taco Tuesday wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Or maybe he was mad at this. Hey, we all know he's petty as fuck, so this could be it, who knows? So, I'm on the side of not giving up too much at all. And to be honest, don't give up anything. I know it's going to hurt a lot of our industries, but we're dealing with a country who all they want to do is take.
Yeah, not only, Sandy, is there sort of public opinion polling, but there's also internal public opinion polling that I know that entire negotiating team, the Prime Minister's office, is very well aware of, that shows the appetite for significant concessions on the Canadian side among the Canadian public is very, very low. I think you and I would know that anecdotally. We hear it from Canadians day in and day out. But objectively, the numbers underpin that. And as Trump has taken a harder hand, not only with Canada, but other countries, the number of Canadians who do not want Canada and this negotiating team to make significant concessions has grown in concert as well. So I think that they will really have to make an effort, should they make concessions, and if they end up being significant, to explain the justification for that to Canadians, but the appetite for it is low.
So I think this speaks for many of us. I think we're at that point right now where we're just tired of it. I don't want the U.S. liquor back on our shelves, and I don't want their dairy either. But the fact that the sentiment among Canadians is that we don't want to give up too many concessions, that speaks volumes. And along with the Pete Hoekstra petition, it clearly shows that Canadians are fed up. And speaking of the petition, at the time I'm editing this video, is at 223,611 signatures. This clearly shows that Canadians are fed up, not just with Hoekstra, but with this whole thing altogether. So I really hope that the Canadian government does not give up too much. And I really would not want to be Dominic LeBlanc right now.
They'll also have a political problem on their hand with the premiers who may not all be on board with those concessions as well, Sandy.
Okay, what happens? Let's go down the road to Wednesday morning. What happens if there's no deal by the deadline and tariffs go into effect?
Well, we all hope, obviously, for something different, but I think it is, fair to prepare for the worst case scenario, which is these additional tariffs will be levied on a myriad of Canadian products worth $20 billion, right? Not chump change at all. I think that the government is obviously well aware of that, and I am told by multiple sources in the federal government that at the same time, on a parallel track, as these negotiations have been going on, there is a team of people who have been readying a relief package for businesses that will be impacted by these tariffs. But it's difficult, Sandy. The challenge is the last tariffs, 232, were specific to sectors. This is so wide in scope. These tariffs are so wide in scope, and the businesses small and medium, which will be most impacted, it's difficult to figure out exactly how to provide relief in a way that will be effective, Sandy.
So I think it's good that the Canadian government is already making a plan B, and that there will be relief packages that will be in place for businesses that are suffering. It's not going to fix everything, I know that, but at least there's going to be something in place. But for me, the point is to not give in to a bully, because that's exactly what the United States is doing right now. They're hoping that we say mercy. But I kind of feel like this is a pivotal point, because the citizens, we don't want the concessions to be like too big. We also don't want Pete Hoekstra in our country anymore. And we're making a stand. We're making our voices heard. And I read somewhere in an article, I can't find the article right now, but I know Dominic LeBlanc and Janice Charest did mention to the U.S. side that, hey, we can't control what 40 million people do. Basically, don't piss off the Canadians. I really wish I bookmarked that article. But we have to remember that this is a monumental shift between our two countries. And Canadians like you and I, we have a choice. And if enough Canadians are pissed off, we can make a difference ourselves. If the U.S. liquor goes back on the shelves, just don't buy it. If their shitty-ass dairy comes into our country, don't buy it. So it's going to be really interesting what happens in the next 48 hours. It's Wednesday when I'm editing this video, and there's not much time left. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the Canadian government should give in to what the United States wants, or should we tell them to fuck off? Use my comments below to vent. I'm totally fine with it. Now that I'm angry with the US government, I want to talk about Bellingham, a place that I used to visit a lot, like more than I probably should have. But this article can apply to any border town city across the entire United States. And this article is titled, Damaging Bellingham Report Reveals BC and Canada Are Crucial to Its Survival. Well, no shit. This was a city and a county that used to get daily lineups like this to get into the country. I remember the days when the lineup would be past 8th Avenue, which is like the turnoff to get to White Rock. And that would be like a good, 3-hour lineup to get into the United States? By the way, the square box is where the border is, and the arrow, that's where the lineup used to be before. So yeah, think about how much money Bellingham is actually losing right now, and all the other border towns as well. Anyways, let's get into the article. If you're just listening or vision impaired, I'll read this one out for you. We've known for over a year that the lack of Canadians and BC visitors to regions like Bellingham has seen a huge impact, but a new report from the Bellingham Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Border Policy Research Institute has dug in a little bit deeper. Man, they better not mention the exchange rate in this article, or I'm going to flip. I haven't read the whole article yet, so I'm reading this out with you as I read it out with you. That doesn't make sense, but... Anyways, a survey from both agencies looked at the business impacts of declining Canadian visitors and looked at which sectors were affected the most. The drop in traffic to the United States was sparked by geopolitical tensions between Canada and the United States, including sentiments shared by Taco Tuesday on making Canada the 51st state. Food and beverage came out on top, as 91% of respondents said that the decline in industry has been damaging. Additional 64% say they're concerned about survival. Oh, that's sad to hear. Anyways, retail is the second most impacted, with 85% saying the decline in visitors is damaging and 60% concerned about survival. Across all sectors and results, an overwhelming majority agreed that Canadian visitors benefited their business. Why can't I talk today? 64% strongly agreed that Canadian visitors benefit their business, and 57% strongly agreed that the drop in visitors was damaging. Did I say 64%? I meant 63%, sorry. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of storytelling, and if you follow my channel, you've heard this story before. But if you're new to my channel, you probably haven't heard it. But as a frequent visitor to Bellingham, probably back in like 2011, 2012, this was when my wife and I were just dating, we used to go to the United States a lot. I mean, we go down there for the weekend and go to Costco, Trader Joe's, Fred Meyer, Bellingham, Trader, what's that stupid mall called? Bellis Fair, which is apparently a dead mall now. These photos are from one of our viewers named G, who I actually interviewed last year. And he's been helping to keep an eye on what's going on in Washington State. I remember when this parking lot used to be full, but then again, it was already on the downswing anyways. And we'd even go farther south to like the Seattle Premium Outlets or, spend a day in Seattle. But Bellingham was probably the place that we would go to the most, just because it was like a 20-minute drive across the border. But one time we went to Costco, and the parking lot, it was overwhelmingly filled with BC plates. I would say like one plate out of three would be from British Columbia. I mean, there was so much of us, I would actually run into friends and like relatives down there shopping at Costco or Bellis Fair. And one time when we came out, you go to Costco, you show your receipt and you take your buggy to the car and unload your car. Bunch of us, like I actually looked at the cars around, had a note that was left on a car that said, "Go back to fucking Canada." Now back then, I didn't think anything of it because yeah, there were a lot of Canadians there, and I could kind of understand. But it is a good reflection on what's going on right now because there are a lot of US citizens that do not want us in their country. They took for granted the amount of money that we spent at their businesses, their shops, their restaurants, and how much money each one of these carloads are bringing into their country and their county. So, to whoever that guy was in Bellingham that left that note on my car, that's fine. I'm not going to your country anymore. And if you ended up working at like a fast food joint or a gas station or somewhere that, we used to go to and now you're out of a job, well, you got what you wanted. Because you'll never see lineups like these again going to your country. At least not for like a few decades, I'm assuming. I had some idiot leave a comment on my video on a Bellingham rant that I did before. It was basically saying that GTL has mental issues and he's holding grudges since 2012. Well, it's not really holding a grudge since 2012. It's actually realizing what the United States really is. Because there's a reason why that person left a note on our cars. And he obviously didn't appreciate or understand how much money we spent in their country. So anytime I see a Bellingham report saying that they're suffering, I'm sorry, but I really don't have much sympathy. But to the Bellingham citizens who did not vote for this and are completely against what their government is doing, unfortunately, you have some fellow citizens within your county that are ruining it for you. And those are the people that you should be upset with. The ones that tick the box beside Taco Tuesday's name. I gave everyone full warning that this might get a little bit spicy. Alright, moving on. The survey revealed that 37% of the businesses have made changes to their operations in response to declining visits, but another 37% have not. One of the more sobering parts of this survey is that 73% of businesses believe that the changes are long-term or permanent. Well, at least they're understanding the reality, I'll give them that. Newer businesses are more concerned about the impact, as 67% of respondents who have been open under 10 years are worried about their survival, compared to 44% who have been open for 10 years. There are many things negatively affecting my business supply chain, changing local requirements, local economic hardships. The Canadian tourism decrease has been one of the most quantifiable and impactful issues for my business, but it's also the hardest not to be angry about, one business said. Another business said, "We really depend on our neighbors to the north for our survival." Survey results were captured between March 2026 and May 2026. Now, I'm not sure if that one business owner is implying that he's angry at the situation or angry at the Canadians for impacting his business. So I'm just going to leave it as is. But you can tell from these comments here that we are making an impact on the businesses just across the border. Let me just finish off this last screenshot. We previously asked our BC readers if they stopped visiting the United States and places like Bellingham. And the last time we did, a majority revealed that their US travel boycott was still intact. Now, I don't want to give the impression that I hate Bellingham. I don't. And it's really kind of a tug of war inside because it's a place that I used to visit a lot. Some of the restaurants, they used to remember us. But then again, some of their citizens left notes on my car. But my mindset really has changed in terms of why are these US businesses begging us to come back when their US government, their president, their US administration is tariffing my country? I really can't get it out of my head that these businesses would rather us support them than to support our own businesses. I would love to ask some of these Bellingham businesses, have they ever supported the Canadian businesses that are suffering because of their government? I'm pretty sure I know the answer to that one. But with the upcoming trade negotiations set to be like hitting the deadline within 48 hours, either way it goes, it's not going to make anything better for these Bellingham businesses or any business along the border. In fact, if it's worse for Canada, you can bet that it's going to be worse for the border town businesses. But I guarantee all of these Bellingham businesses are hoping and wishing that they get these lineups again. And I remember doing a report last year on Bellingham where a business owner, they might have actually been in Blaine, they kept an eye on the border cameras just to see how much traffic was coming in hopes of Canadians coming to their business. But like I said earlier, I think these lineups that you're seeing on the screen at the Peace Arch, these days are long gone. I don't know how old these photos are. I mean, the one on the bottom left is from 2022, but you could tell how busy it was. I mean, even the Nexus lane was jammed. If you're not sure about the Peace Arch, the far right lane is actually the Nexus lane. And you can see in 3 of the photos, the Nexus lane is also jammed up as well. And what you're going to see moving forward are lineups like this, where you can drive right up to the gate. So, to the people of Bellingham, I'm not ragging on your city. I do generally miss visiting your city. But I cannot spend any money in your country, your city, or your county. And if you're upset by this, then you should be speaking to anybody that checked the box beside Taco Tuesday's name. Closing out this video, I would like to thank my mom for sending over this photo from Cayucot Sound on Vancouver Island. I believe they went on this trip earlier this year, or it might actually have been last year, I can't remember. But I'll be back in Vancouver soon and meeting with my parents, so I'm going to be grabbing a whole bunch more photos, or more specifically wildlife photos that my mom took. So thanks again, Mom, for sending this over to me. Alright everyone, that's all I got for this video. And just a heads up, I'll be pretty busy the next week before we head back to Vancouver, so I might not be on socials very much, whether it's Blue Sky or Discord or Reddit, wherever else. So I'm still around. It's just we got a lot of stuff to do before we leave, so. But if you did find any value out of this video, and you want to support the work that I do, then consider checking out my Substack page or my Buy Me a Coffee page. Thanks everyone, I'll catch you in the next video.